You're listening to the Talk Box. Let's talk about it. Talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Yeah, you're listening to the Talk Box. You're listening to the Talk Box. Let's talk about it. Talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Rise and shine. It's your girl Sonia here on the Talk Box. I just want to remind you that every day above ground is a good day. We got another day to get some things right that we didn't have quite right on yesterday. So good morning, good morning, good morning to all of you. Today is a great show. It's just part of our morning motivation to drive us on this journey while we're on our way to abundant living. Are you glad that you made it to Hump Day? Today is Wednesday. We made it through half of the week. For those of us who are tax preparers and taxpayers, yesterday was supposed to be the last day of the season. So I hope that and pray that everything went well. Thank you so very much for joining me on today. I want to remind you to make sure that you're following us and make sure you share the live and make a comment. Let me know that you are in the place. I just want to share with you on today what today is. Oh my goodness, it is a good show on today. Today's show, the persistence to and for the prize. Now, we already know that all of us have permission and authority to live an abundant life. But what other prize have God told you that you could have? And there's a scripture in the Bible where there was an unjust judge. An unjust judge. He didn't listen to nobody. He went by what he wanted to do. He ran things as he wanted to run it. But all of a sudden, there was a widow woman who kept going to him, being persistent. She kept going to this unjust judge and telling him, look, I need retribution for my adversaries. I want justice. I want justice. And here she was talking to this unjust judge who didn't do anything for anybody else. He did everything at his pleasure and at his leisure. But he decided, because this widow woman, that means she was a widow. So she had already lost her husband. And I imagine she had lost a lot of things along the way. But because she was persistent, somebody say persistent, because she kept on going and telling him, I want justice. I want justice. And this unjust judge was known for being unjust, for being unfair, for not moving in a timely fashion. He was an unjust judge. He didn't do anything to give value to the people, but he moved on his own time. But this widow woman, back in that time, when you didn't have a husband, you was considered less than. And here she was, a widow woman, and she kept going and going and going and going. She was persistent. See, some of us need to get a little more persistent. I know that you said, well, I done prayed about it once. I ain't going to pray about it again. Well, the Bible say pray without ceasing. So you should continue in prayer. And when you are persistent, There is power in persistence. So when we're being persistent, as the widow woman was in this story, she kept on going to the unjust judge and saying, look, I want justice. I don't care. I'm going to get up early in the morning. I'm going to come down there. I'm going to worry you. I'm going to be the first thing in your face in the morning and the last thing in your face before you leave this place. That is persistence. Sometimes we give up a moment before the miracle happens. Sometimes we don't keep pushing past the pain, the pressure, and the problems, and we become failures. But I want to encourage you today to be persistent about that thing. If you know God said it to you, then you need to believe it and you need to trust God at his word. Is there anybody with me here today? Anybody with me? Are you with me? Huh? Are you with me? Let me just do this. Let me just do this. You need to know and understand that you can have power by continuing to be persistent, by continuing to move, by continuing to get in the folk face. You want that job? Then guess what you need to do? You need to start going to your boss and say, listen, I want to put in for the supervisor position. But you're not qualified for it. But God said that I can have it. So I'm going to ask you for it day in and day out. Just like this widow woman who kept going to the unjust judge, telling him she wanted justice. Well, see, persistence is power, because she was so persistent that he said, let me go ahead and give this woman what she wants. She keep on bothering me day in and day out. She didn't give up a moment before the miracle happened. She didn't give up before it was her time to shine. So I want you on today, be persistent. You know about the woman with the issue of blood, right? She kept going from doctor to doctor. That's persistence. One doctor said, ain't nothing I can do. Ain't nothing I can do. But she kept being persistent. So when you meet one obstacle that can't help you achieve the goal that you're looking for, don't stop there. Keep pursuing. Keep being persistent. Keep pushing. Keep going. Don't quit. Don't stop. Don't give up a moment before the miracle happens. So the woman with the issue of blood, she kept pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing until she heard about this man named Jesus. And she pushed through the crowd and she touched the hem of his garment. And then in that instant, she was made whole. So earlier this week, I told you, don't despise the process. You just be persistent in it. Make sure that you're moving along the process. Make sure you're doing what you need to do. But back to the story. Here's this unjust judge. He telling her, get away from my court. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And guess what? She kept saying, I'm not going. I'm not going. I'm not going. Stop going for the okie doke. Make sure you're being persistent. Be persistent in your marriage. Be persistent with your children. Be persistent on your job. Be persistent in your ministry. Be persistent in your business, because persistence brings power. Power to get that prize. Anybody want the prize today? You got to be persistent, baby. You got to keep it moving. It might not look like it's coming to you, but if you're persistent, I guarantee you that the end result will come. I tell you all the time, there's seasons for everything. Just like today. Today is a good day. Why? Because we got another opportunity to get some things right that we didn't have quite right on yesterday. We're being persistent. We're getting up, giving God thanks in advance. We're giving up being persistent about pursuing our promise, the promise of abundant living. We're being persistent. Even when our bodies don't feel like it, we're going to get up and tell God, thank you anyhow. Be persistent in your praise. Be persistent in your fellowship. Be persistent in your prayer life because persistence is power. Somebody say power. If you want the prize, you got to be persistent because persistence brings on that power. So the unjust judge finally got so sick and tired of that woman coming that he finally said, let me give her what she wants, honey. She wants justice against her adversaries. Bring her adversaries in here. Let me take care of this problem. Because if we're being persistent enough, then see, your problem will get a solution by being persistent. Because if I keep throwing something up in your face, even when you don't want to hear it, even when you tell me you don't have time, I'll just go ahead and take care of the problem. I'll give it some resolve just to get you out of my hair. Do you understand what I'm talking about? There is power in persistence. So we want to be persistent in the things of God that God have told us that we can have. Let me give you some insight. Being persistent so that you can get the power to be successful in whatever area it is. You are not alone. I've looked up some things, some information for you to let you know that you're not by yourself being persistent. You're not by yourself having a couple of failures up under your belt. Somebody said that a saint is just a sinner that fell down and got back up. So you need to get back up. If you missed the mark yesterday, today is another opportunity to get it right. If you missed the mark in your business, revamp that thing. Write a new business plan and lay it on out there. If you flunked your class in school, don't get worried about it. Just sign back up and take that class again. Be persistent so that you can win. Do you want to win? You got to be persistent to win. But I wanted to let you know that if you are persistent, if you have had some failures in your life and you want to know why you need to keep going, and you want to know if you're the only one, well, I did some research. And let me just give you a list of folks who done had some failures. So we are in a good category when we are being persistent and we keep on moving. Let me tell you, you know that vacuum cleaner that you're using, the one that don't have a bag to it, Mr. Dyson, you've heard of the Dyson vacuum cleaner. Let me tell you, he tried to invent this vacuum cleaner and he failed 5,126 times before he made it right. So don't you give up when you fail once, or when you fail twice, when you fail 3 times. Get back up, dust yourself off, and keep it moving. What about Steven Spielberg? All of those great movies that we see today. Do you know that he was turned down 3 times for the University of Southern California School of Cinematic Art? Now look how great he is in his movies, but they rejected his application 3 times. What about Thomas Edison and the light bulb? He went on to say he had over 1,000 patents, including the phonograph and practical electric lamp, but he had to do that thing over and over and over again. And now we got light bulbs so we can see. What about Walt Disney? Did you know that he failed multiple times before he became successful? Albert Einstein, who's known to be a genius, he had so many different failures. What about J.K. Rowling? Did you know that there would be no wizard if there was not no welfare? The woman who wrote Harry Potter, did you know that she was on welfare trying to go to school? When she started writing about Harry Potter, there would be no Harry Potter. Abraham Lincoln, Jerry Seinfeld, Theodore Geisel, Oprah Winfrey, Stephen King, the great writer, Vincent Van Gogh, Elvis Presley, Michael Jordan. Let me tell you the story about Michael Jordan. Did you know that when Michael Jordan was in high school, that he got cut from his basketball team? So that tells me that when God got something for you, if it's not your season, you might not tap into it right now. Somebody else, other people can't see it around you, but you make sure that you keep it in your scope, and you make sure that you continue to be persistent, and drag the power out of that persistence so that you can get the prize. I know Mama and them didn't treat you right. Mama and them can't see what God is about to do in your life. The folk around you, your ride or die, can't see what God got for you. But I want you to make sure that you be persistent in it, baby, and so that you can reach and get the prize. Persistence. You need to pray without ceasing. You need to keep pushing past the pain, the problems, the pressure, and pursue the prize. And we do that by continually being persistent. Not only did the woman with the issue of blood, was she persistent when she went from doctor to doctor, and the Bible said that she had spent all that she had. So for you who want to open up a business, and you done spent all that you had, you done bought all the business cards, you done put out all the flyers, and nobody showed up to your party. Let me tell you, Tyler Perry spent all that he had, everything that he had saved up for, living in a car to put on his first play, and it was a flop. See, I believe that God let some of our visions and stuff flop first, so you'll know who brought it to pass. So you'll know that you didn't do it. So you know to give God the glory. Sometimes we're trying to take credit for God's work. And that's why he has to take his hand off of it and let you have it. But anytime God put his hand on something, you already know that it's going to be a great thing. So if you got to be persistent, you got to be persistent. If you fall down, you got to get back up again. If you strike out, you got to get back up to the plate. For those who have been through a divorce, don't give up. God said that you are a wife, then guess what? You are a wife. Be persistent in that thing. If you are going through challenges, whatever the case might be, you still got to be persistent. You got to be persistent in order to win. I'm telling you, you got to be persistent. I know you don't feel like, you tired, but you need to pray and keep moving and keep pushing. There's a scripture that says, we do not grow weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. So you need to understand that you got to keep pushing no matter what it looks like, no matter what it sounds like, no matter what other folk is whispering in your ear, no matter how many times they told you that it couldn't be done, no matter how many times they laughed at you because you failed. You got to be persistent. You got to push past it. You got to keep going. You cannot faint. Somebody say, don't faint. Don't faint. Don't faint. God says in his word, let me give it to you again so it'll sink in. Don't grow weary in your well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. Is there anybody who want to reap today? Do you want to reap the rewards Do you want to reap the praise, the prize? I mean, do you want to reap today? But you've got to be persistent. You got to be persistent. You can't try something one time and give up on it. Don't give up a moment before the miracle happens. Don't give in. You know, nobody can take your blessings from you, but you can give them away. You know, I tell you, the greatest and the worst thing that God gave each and every one of us is the same, and that's free will. So you can give up your blessing, but can't nobody take them. So now it's up to you to pursue the prize today. It's up to you to be persistent. It's up to you to push past your problems, your pain, and the pressures of life. It's up to you to reach for the stars. It's up for you to get back up. It's up to you to dust yourself off. It's not mama's job. It's not daddy's job. It's not your husband's job, your wife's job. It's up to you. Somebody say, it's up to me. It's up to me. And I can say that because he said, greater is he who is in me than he who is in the world. So I don't have to be moved by my failures. I know you didn't get it right yesterday, baby, but today is a new day. Today I got an opportunity to get some things right that wasn't right on yesterday. I know I flunked the test, but you got an opportunity to retake that test today and keep it moving. I thank God for you guys. I know this is a short session, but I just wanted to get on and let you know that you have to have some persistence while you're pursuing the prize if you want to win. Okay? Well, you guys, thank you so very much for coming on. It's been a blessing to see you. I want to remind you that you need to be emailing me your prayer requests, any topic conversations, scriptures that you want broke down, whatever it is that you would like for me to take a look at. Please don't hesitate. I love you guys. Thank you guys for coming on. And remember, you have the authority to live and have an abundant life. So I want to remind you to make sure that you're following me. Make sure that you're sharing the live when we come on. And we're just going to go ahead and get on out the way today. I want to thank God for seeing Tony this morning. Sister Elizabeth, it's good to see you. Michelle, it's good to see you. Thank you guys for being so faithful, coming on the talk box with me every morning, getting our good morning motivation, driving us while we're on our journey to abundant living, because we have the right and permission and the authority to live an abundant life. And I'm so glad that you are a part of my life, that you have come and rendered your time with me. You didn't have to. You could have been doing something else, but you decided to sit in with Sonia G. So I appreciate you on today. And so with that being said, I want to remind you to just keep it moving. If God said it, you can believe it. God bless you. And you guys, y'all have a